Welcome to Fear and Greed, the week ahead. I'm Sean Aylmer, and as always, I'm joined by economist Stephen Koukoulas. You'll find him at thekouk.com, THEKOUK.com, and on X using the handle thekouk. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning, Sean. It's nice and chilly, isn't it, in the middle of winter?
It sure is. It's freezing along the east coast of the country. Now, let's jump in to what happened last week. Well, we've got inflation figures this week, but I want to talk about the Reserve Bank board meeting last week. What did you make of it all? Where do we stand now compared to a week ago before we got that statement?
Look, nothing much changed. The statement and the press conference that Michelle Bullock, RBA governor, spoke at outlined many of the same issues. They're not sure about the speed at which inflation's coming down. They think it might be a bit resilient. That is, it's going to take longer to get to the target. However, they acknowledge the economy's weak. That March quarter GDP result, which came out a few weeks ago, was very, very poor. They acknowledge the pain that the household sector's in, and that explains why household consumption and retail spending and the like have been very, very poor for the last 12 months or so. So you add it all up and actually look at what financial markets did. There's still basically no change in interest rates other than a few little basis points up and down before the first half of next year. So probably 6+ months of rates on hold according to market pricing. And like all of us mere mortals, the RBA mere mortals too are just going to be looking at the data on inflation, unemployment, and what's happening in the global economy too, while Michelle Bullock sort of downplayed that the rate cuts from Canada and Europe would be sort of dovetailing specifically into their interest rate decisions and rate cuts in those instances. She did acknowledge that, what's happening in the world economy is important. And so we'll just got to keep an eye on all of these moving parts to see, which way they go and when they go.
Okay, so the most important data point at the moment, it seems, is inflation. And we actually get May inflation figures out today.
Yes, they're out, and they're going to be showing inflation probably increasing in year-on-year terms. It's one of these quirky ones which will create no doubt a huge amount of havoc in markets, because just on the year-on-year run rate, there's a minus 0.4 from May last year dropping out of the run rate. We do know that petrol prices were down a bit and a few other things, but it's unlikely to be repeated. So if we get, just say, a 0% change in the CPI for the month of May, we're going to get that annual rate back to 4%, which is sort of where the market's looking at the moment, even though that we know that's going to cascade lower the following month. It's one of those ones where, we love monthly inflation numbers, but that volatility in month-on-month numbers as opposed to quarter-on-quarter numbers, where a lot of that volatility is smoothed out, means we're going to probably get another spike in inflation, which will get the rate hike campaigners sort of very vocal and very noisy.
Okay, and I mean, we will hear from the Reserve Bank immediately, soon after the CPI figures, because there are a couple of speakers this week.
Yeah, two speakers. We've got Chris Kent, who's one of the assistant governors, giving a talk. I don't think we've got a specific topic on the website yet, but inevitably it'll be about how the economy's going. We've got the deputy governor, the relatively new deputy governor, Andrew Hauser, giving a bit of a chat too on the economy later this week. So they'll have embraced the CPI number to the extent that that will drive any commentary, but also it gives them a chance to flesh out how people, markets, whatever, have reacted to the decision of last week to keep rates steady, and of course what Michelle Bullock was talking about at her press conference. So always good to hear RBA speakers. Let's just see if they throw a few little hints and a few little crumbs on what they're thinking about the economy, inflation, unemployment, and all of the above.
Now, Stephen, I've got to say, I think there's been an outbreak of personality inside the central bank. Andrew Hauser has been around the place a bit in the last few weeks. Michelle Bullock is certainly full of life in her press conferences. So, and I mean, that's no disrespect to the previous incumbents. They were all, in their own way, lively, I'm sure. But, these two are quite a pairing.
Yes. Well, and in fact, this is the issue, I think, that caused the RBA problems previously under Dr. Lowe. Let's be transparent about that. Was that the messaging wasn't great. Clearly a brilliant economist and all the rest of it. But the messaging on, rates on hold, or we're going to lean against house price inflation, or that sort of discussion of where the risks were on interest rates, the economy and the like, sort of got lost in poor communication skills. Whereas Michelle Bullock and Andrew Hauser, they've got a bit of a gift of the gab, and that's a compliment, to be able to explain, to everyone, myself included, what they're thinking and acknowledging, this is the other really important part, not many central bankers do that, acknowledging where they're confused, acknowledging, look, we're not sure what's happening here. So rather than being, this authoritative, smarty pants central banker, which happens a lot overseas in particular, they're sort of saying, look, we're just not sure quite how this inflation rate's going. We're not quite sure whether we've done enough in terms of tightening to get our inflation rate in a reasonable time frame. So I love it. I think it's really, really refreshing, and it does really just make it a little easier to understand where the risks are.
Fair enough. Stephen, enjoy your week.
Will do. Thank you, Sean.
That was economist Stephen Koukoulas, better known as The Kook. You can find him at thekook.com and follow him on X using the handle The Kook. I'm Sean Aylmer, and this is Fear and Greed, the week ahead.